Hello, welcome to easyodds.com video channel on YouTube. My name is Ross Casey. I'm with the horse racing extraordinaire, that is Jake Johns. We're going to go through the race in 2 weeks' time at Epsom, the Derby. We're going to have a few selections from our man Jake Johns, but before we go into that, let's quickly talk about the offer that we're going to have in this video. It's going to be up to £100 match bonus on your first deposit and 200 bonus spins with our friends Mr. Green. Mr. Green, a really good way to spend quite a long time playing casino games, as me and Jake found out when we signed up.
When you get the free spins, it really gets you. Great fun, but yeah.
But also for you horse racing fans, as I'm sure most of you watching this will be horse racing fans. Every day across a range of races in the UK and Ireland, you can bet on jockey specials, winning distances, enhanced place terms, price boosts, and multiple and enhanced multiples with Mr. Green. So make sure that you sign up with them to back horses as well. So without any further ado, let's get stuck into the Derby with our man Jake Johns.
Okay, yes, the Epsom Derby, 2 weeks' time. The self-proclaimed greatest flat race in the world. Almost definitely not that anymore, but still very good race. Second of the classic of the season for the Colts. Saturday, 3rd of June. All trials have been done. Let's just get stuck into the race. So Cracksman is currently sharing favouritism with the Cliffs of Moher. Cracksman, same connections as won Derby a couple of years ago for Anthony Oppenheimer, John Gosden and Frankie Dettori. He won in his Epsom trial, which is obviously really good, so we know he acts on the track, which didn't look likely at the time. Didn't look great though. The way he did it was kind of workmanlike, but it was pretty impressive the way he quickened, and he was keen to begin with. So you think there's quite a lot more improvement to come, almost definitely going to be. And what's even more impressive is the second, Permian, has absolutely ranked the form ridiculously well since then, winning twice, but most impressively, he won the Dante quite easily as well. It could be that horse just improved loads from his first run, or it could be that this Cracksman is actually pretty good. But my main concern with this is the vibes are not great. John Gosden doesn't seem that... he just doesn't come across like the same way that Golden Horn does and Derby winners, Derby horses have had in the past and Oaks and stuff. It doesn't seem like that sort of vibe. Anthony Oppenheimer has openly said he's not worried about, because with Golden Horn they were worried about whether he was going to stay or not. Obviously he did because he won, but with Cracksman they're worried about his ability rather than his actual ability to stay. So that's a bit concerning to me. And the one I actually been talking up for quite a while now is the other one, Cliffs of Moher, for the genius that is APO Brian. I actually tweeted about him just before the D Stakes at Chester, which he won. 8-1 at the time. I backed him. I think I backed him at 9-1. So hopefully some of you got on then if you followed me on Twitter. But currently 9-2, which is still a decent price. I think that will definitely get shorter, considering all the trials have done. My thinking was, back before I tipped him, before I backed him, or anything, when I backed him, was that this looked a pretty ordinary Derby. The trials aren't going to throw up anything probably outstandingly good, is what I thought. And I was pretty certain that Churchill wasn't going to run. I don't think they'd risk him in a race like this, and I don't think he'd stay anyway. And now Churchill isn't going to run, so that makes it, you know, he's going to be APO Brian's number one. So my thinking was he's going to be APO Brian's number one. There's no way he's going to be 9-1 if he's APO Brian's number one. So that's going to be value, and I took it then. But still, 9-2 is decent value at the moment. His Chester run concerned quite a lot of people. Not me so much. I said straight away afterwards it wasn't that bad. Clearly very, very raw throughout the contest. It's quite hard to come to Chester first time out after a 2-year-old season. Absolutely, definitely miles more to come. And it actually impressed me the way he quickened away. When Ryan Moore actually really asked him to go, he really quickened away nicely at the finish. So you think he'll definitely stay the trip at the very least. And it wasn't that bad. I mean, he finished the race well, I thought, in my opinion. And APO Brian since then has on loads and loads of times said that he was absolutely miles behind his work that day, more than most of even of his other horses, which were also behind at that time of the season. And he'll definitely come on for the run, so that's, you know, that's good as well. He says that a lot, but I mean it's still interesting, and yeah, I think he just will 100% come on loads for the run. One of the main pieces of form that put me, you know, straight onto this Cliffs of Moher was his 2-year-old run at Leopardstown, where he absolutely hacked up by 5.5 lengths ahead of Order of the Garter, who won next time by 10 lengths, and then won a listed race at Naas by 4 lengths. So that is ridiculously good form already, and that is not even the most impressive thing on that run. The most impressive thing was the insane time. It was absolutely, completely astonishing time for a 2-year-old. It was a second faster than the listed race that was won that day by Sovereign Debt later on in that card. So for a 2-year-old to do that is pretty insane. And he went on to a lot of people's books after that, and was installed kind of near the top of the Derby market straight away. I think Churchill was still obviously going to be favourite, but was he ever going to get this trip? I'm not sure. But Churchill against Barney Roy rematch, that is going to be epic. Can't wait for that. And at Royal Ascot, but anyway, not talking about Royal Ascot right now. Talk about that another time. Yeah. So yeah, he's currently 9-2. Ryan was almost definitely going to ride him. He will be shorter than 9-2, I think. Okay. Well, I think when it gets by race time, we're doing this 2 weeks in advance, so I don't know when you're watching it, but it's probably going to be. I reckon it could be 9-4. Probably maybe 11-4 if you're lucky, because it's going to be short. And 5 minutes before the off, if the lads at Coolmore, Ballydoyle think he's gonna win, they will hammer him in. They will hammer him in just before the off. 5 minutes before the off, he'll probably be odds on. No, he won't be joking. He'll never be odds on. How dare you say that? But anyway. Yeah, so that's the one I like as well. Cliffs of Moher is my first pick. It's a pretty big derby. I think it's going to be quite a big field because it's looked quite open. So, and obviously there's loads and loads of entries still at the moment, so it's good to have a couple in here. So I'm going to pick another one as well. Best Solution, currently best price of 14-1, way too big. 14-1 is just too big a price. He was basically tried on the dirt by Godolphin because they like it because in Meydan in over the winter and autumn, just didn't take to it at all. Very, very, like it happens to loads of horses, so it wasn't that surprising to me. And then he was just tried back on turf last time at Lingfield in a Derby trial, and I cannot believe that he was 16-1 after that race was won. He just tore the race apart completely, bolted clear, won by 3 lengths, which would have been way further, would have been 5 or 6 lengths had he not been eased down at the finish. And he beat, pretty interestingly, not many people pick this up, well obviously you have if you look deep into the form, but Tartini, he beat Tartini by further than Cracksman beat Tartini in his trial, and Best Solution was giving him £5. So that's massive amount, that's a huge amount of distance to the weight. So that's interesting to me. I think what people had against him was this looked like a backup plan, and they just thought you cannot have a horse as his Derby as his backup plan because he didn't go well in Meydan on the dirt, which is a completely legitimate, fair enough assumption to make, and it is a bit of a worry. But when he does something like that in a Derby trial, you can't just ignore him for that reason alone, in my opinion. So yeah, it was just a really, really impressive run. He's got some really good form from his 2-year-old season as well when you look through it. The big worry was the step up in trip on his breeding when I actually tipped him for that Lingfield race, and that was a worry, but he clearly gets it easily because he just stayed it fine on the day. That's 1 mile 3, and whilst I get that Lingfield isn't exactly like Epsom and some make it out to be closer than it actually is, it is still pretty close compared to other tracks, so I'd be hopeful that he'd act on the Epsom track as well. One thing, he needs good ground. He needs good to firm ground to show his best. He has run okay on soft actually, but I think to show his absolute best he needs good ground, especially over the trip. And the forecast is actually pretty good up until, I think it's next week's going to be pretty sunny, so it should be pretty fast actually, even though right now it's not lightning quick. I think it will probably, looking at the forecast, it might be good to firm, which would be great for him. He won his maiden at Goodwood on really fast ground, and that race is working out extremely well if you want to look through that. And then he won the Autumn Stakes ahead of Zane Hom, who I actually rate her. I rate her so highly. She could be a possibility for the Oaks. I don't know if that's the way they're going to go, but I like her a lot. She came 3rd behind Barney Roy in that trial for the 1,000 guineas. Definitely needed the run. If you watch the race again, she'll come on for that a lot. But the one obviously, I'm not talking about her right now. Best Solution, 14-1, massive price. People are just cottoning on to it now. And he's actually 8-1 in places, so that's a massive difference as well. So you can get 14-1 if you shop around on the Easy Odds odds comparison grid. I think you might be able to only get it in one place. It was 16 to 1 not long ago, 14 to 1 best price now. Still massive, way too big. I'm almost certain they'll run him here, even though Godolphin have a hell of a lot of horses.
Yeah.
With a couple throwing in them late into their throwing themselves into the race late on. So I think both of those have decent chances. Obviously, the final declarations aren't out yet, so there's no certainty that, well, Cliffs of Moher will run if he's fit, but I'm pretty sure Best Solution will run as well. I've heard John Ferguson, the racing manager for Godolphin, talk about him very highly, and I think they are going to go with him. So 14 to 1 each way, very good bet. Cliffs of Moher 9 to 2, missed the price a little bit since when I mentioned it on Twitter, but still very good price, I think, in my opinion anyway. Yeah, so those two.
Excellent stuff there from my man Jake Johns. Huge prices, 14 to 1, 9 to 2. Remember, if you sign up with Mr. Green, you can get a £100 match bonus on any of those horses if you're backing Jake's tips. So make sure that you sign up with Mr. Green, including their incredible 200 bonus spins offer, which will take you about 2 days to use up, and it's a lot of fun, as me and Jake found out. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, comment on the video, comment below on who you think will win the Derby or some of the interesting markets available in the Derby. Have a little chat below in the comment section, ask Jake a question. That's always welcomed, of course.
I'll reply to everything.
Absolutely. And of course, the biggest one, use our Easy Odds app for the best odds comparison service. Jake pointed it out in the rundown there on Best Solution. Best price 14 to 1, worst price 8 to 1. Why would you settle for less? Make sure that you use the Easy Odds odds comparison service with the Easy Odds app, which will be available to install in the comments below as well. So thanks very much for watching. I've been Ross Casey, this is Jake Johns, and that was our Derby video.
Bye.